modelling shed, studio, workshop, whatever you want to call it. I've posted a couple of pictures on various model railway Facebook groups and of course on my previous YouTube videos, and a couple of people have now asked me if I would do a workshop or a shed tour, which I'm more than happy to do, but initially I wasn't going to bother because this is currently all set up purely for kit building, for Airfix, Tamiya, Edward, Meng, that sort of thing. It's not set up for railway modelling, and there is a bit of difference. And initially I was like, oh no, I'll do that later once I'm more established, as I move away from building just kit models, as I move more into railway modelling, and this place sort of evolves, which it undoubtedly will do. I thought I'll do a shed tour then. But then I thought about it, and I've been stewing on this for the last week or so. I figure it might be worth doing one now before things change, so I can show you like a before and after, if you like, because as it is now, like I say, all set up for kit building. I've got all the workstations as I want them, I've got everything stored as I need them, but that's probably going to change. And plus, I'm building a little 4x2 layout at the minute. See previous videos for more information on that. It's my first layout, 4x2 shunting layout, but already I'm thinking that I might want to go bigger. I knew I would, and I suppose it's the age-old problem. Everybody always wants to build a layout bigger than what they can do. And I'm not sure how it's going to go. I've potentially got space to build one in here, but it wouldn't be very big. Whether it would be big enough, I don't know. I've got to do some more measuring and study some track plans and take some more advice and stuff on that. So potentially, if I can fit a layout into this room here and continue to keep my workstations, which to be honest I wouldn't want to be without, then this might change drastically. But if not, then I'll be upping everything probably and moving it next door into the garage. So I figure this is going to be this could be quite a milestone in my shed. Little bit about it. I built it in 2016, 2017, something like that. I had it custom made at a small company in a town near me called Ollerton. If anybody's from Nottingham, there's a company called S&E Timber Supplies in Ollerton. They also have a subsidiary company called the Cozy Shed Company, which is worth looking at. They custom made this to my specification. It's a 10 foot by 12 foot log lap summer house. I'm 6'3", so they made the roof a little bit higher and put a sun canopy on the front and a few other bits and bobs. And then it came to me, it was built in their workshop, and then they came and assembled it as a kit in my garden. It's standing on a proper concrete base and everything else, so it's a proper building. But when it turned up, it was just an empty shell, and I'd never done anything like that before. I had to insulate it and clad it and all the rest of the stuff. So it's all insulated all the way around with Celotex Kingspan, and the roof and the walls are all clad with Sterling board OSB. The floor's all insulated with 25mm polystyrene, and then OSB floorboards on top. I've had an electrician put a properly wired spur into here from the consumer unit in the garage. So yeah, it's a proper deal. It's a proper room, and it's done me well for the last 4 or 5 years or so. It's a good space to be. It's 10 foot by 12 foot, like I say, so there's plenty of space in here. But whether that's going to be big enough for me to do what I want to do with a layout is a different kettle of fish. So, well, that remains to be seen. But in the meantime, I figured I'd just give you a quick look round and show you what it's all about, show you how it's set up at the minute and what I use all the bits for, and maybe explain a couple of things as I go along the way. So if you give me a second, I will jump up, grab the camera, and I'll give you a quick run around the building and see what you think. 2 seconds. So I'll switch to a wide angle view and give you like a 360 tour. So we'll start off down there with the main workstation and my little drawer units from EBMA. I'll show you more about those in a minute. And the paint racks on the wall, which were made by me. They're just 2x1 boards with some hardboard sheet on the back, big enough to hold all of, well, you can see there's still plenty of room, but they were designed to hold these little Tamiya and Mr. Hobby pots of paint, and then the wider ones for things like these lovely, amazingly wonderful MRP paints. Obviously this might seem a little bit different to what Railway model. I'm picking up quite a lot of differences between the stuff that railway modelers use and how they use them. So this might be a little bit different. And then in that corner on that rack there, I've got all my weathering products, mainly from AK Interactive and MIG Ammo, various pigments, streaking grimes, textures, that sort of thing. A few tools in the corner, aircraft building stands, parts holders, that kind of stuff. The workbench itself, if I pull this chair back out of the way, the workbenches itself, they're from IKEA. The tabletops are, I can't remember what they're called now. They do them in various sizes. I think I've got 2 5-foot ones in here, and they are supported on the Alex range. So they are Alex drawers, and then over this side we've got Alex cupboards. They're all the same size, and the tables just sit on top. In the corners and where I needed extra support, I've used these Adils, I think they're called, Adils legs. Maybe this one will show up a bit better. I'll show you that one. They are Adils legs. They're about £3 each. They're an absolute bargain. They just screw onto the table, and they are adjustable at the bottom as well, which is fantastic. So that's how the benches are made up. Nothing more than that. Simplicity itself, really. Literally buy the board, drop it on top of the drawer units, and away you go. And then that gives me plenty of space underneath and flexibility, because obviously I can move them to wherever I want them. So you can see I've got a bit of an overhang on that side where I've put my heater down the side. I've got some storage down in the back of there, just for books and magazines and stuff that I don't need. And yeah, and it all fits in here really, really well indeed. So in a little bit more detail then, we'll start with lighting. So sort of main lighting, I use these IKEA work lamps. They're about £10 each, something like that. Put daylight bulbs in them, and they work really well for this kind of thing, for colour rendition and stuff. I've got another one on this wall, and then another one over on that wall there. And then above the actual workbenches themselves, these are from a company called Lightcraft, available in various places, from in the UK at least. They're called Lightcraft task lamps, I think. This was the first one I bought, which is standard fluorescent tubes. 3 fluorescent tubes. They are daylight, so they're 5300 or 5500 Kelvin, something like that. They're on angle poise brackets, which just clamp onto the desk there, and they are really, really good. I mean, as you can see, that's got that spray booth lit up beautifully. Then they brought out this new version, which is LED and slightly more powerful. I think that one's 14 watts, and this one is about 20 watts. And you can turn the brightness right up on this. I think that's up to maximum now. And then this is very dimmable. You can switch half of it off. You can turn it right down low. You can dim it down as far as you want. But obviously you're going to start getting some flicker there as the frame rate interferes. But yeah, this one's LED, about 20 watts, and you can see just how well it lights up that workbench there. It's fantastic, and obviously being 5300 Kelvin or whatever they are, the colour rendition's fantastic. You know, for when you're painting and stuff like that, you can see exactly what you're dealing with colour-wise. They're fantastic. They aren't cheap, unfortunately, but they are very, very good. Lightcraft LED task lamp or work lamp, I think they're called. I think you can get them on Amazon. There's a shop called Barwell Body Supplies, I think, in the UK that sell them as well. Like I say, they're not cheap, but well worth the investment. Drawer units along the back here. These are all from a company called EBMA Hobby and Craft. You can find them on Facebook. Now, I originally looked at the Hobby Zone range, which is modular, similar to this, and it's really good. But one downfall with the Hobby Zone stuff, as far as I was concerned, was the drawers. These narrow drawers, you can't fit things like sanding sticks and paintbrushes, pencils, that kind of thing in. You can't fit them in front to back. They're not quite long enough. So if you want to store anything like that, you have to store it widthways in one of these wider drawers, which I just think is a bit silly, really. So that's what originally drew me to the EBMA system. But now that I've had a few of their modules, and this is all from EBMA, these little shelf units, all of these drawers are, They do all kinds of stuff. For model railways, they do loco holders and all kinds of different bits and bobs. Have a look on the website. They've got some amazing stuff. It comes as laser cut MDF. Just glue it together with a bit of PVA. It comes as kit form. And to be honest, I can't fault them. The draws flow really nicely and smoothly. They're solid, they're robust, they look great, and they can be painted as well. A friend of mine, James, has painted all of his just with an aerosol, and they look lovely. Little magnets tucked down the side, so they sort of fix together, gently in a thing. So, these are all. This is one module. This is a separate one. This is a separate one. This shelf unit on the top is separate. So yeah, definitely worth looking at those. I think they're fantastic, and they certainly do what I need them to do. As for what's in them, well, on the top you can see that's all my various glues, various PVAs and super glues and thin glues and all kinds of stuff there. On this side I've got Mr. Surfacer Primer, which is just my favourite primer. Decal setting solutions, plastic polishers, various matte varnishes, that kind of thing. This is an IKEA unit, which I'm sure most of you will be familiar with. They're very common in workshops because they're easy to get hold of in IKEA. On top of there, I've got my oil brushes from Mig Ammo. These are just oil paints, but in like a mascara type bottle with a tiny little paintbrush inside. Just make oil paints a little bit more convenient to use, and I love working with oils for weathering. They're fantastic. All my thinners and stuff are decanted into these little bottles. Most of the time these paints are mixed with cellulose or lacquer thinner rather than, even though they are acrylics, I tend to mix them with Tamiya, and Mr. Hobby can mix with either acrylic thinner or lacquer thinner, and I tend to use Mr. Leveling thinner, which is from Mr. Hobby, or Mr. Rapid thinner, which is again from Mr. Hobby. I tend to use those for thinning paint. Cellulose thinner I use for cleaning my airbrush and any other general tasks, if you like. What's in these drawers? Well, usual stuff really for modelling. All my photo etching type stuff's in there. Those two are empty for now, but again, this is all likely to sort of, some of it will change. So I've got all my different sanding sticks in these drawers here, and then down here I've got things like razor saw blades and scribers, drill bits, and my lovely Tamiya pin vise, scissors and decal scissors for cutting decals, and tweezers in that one, spare masking tape, putties and fillers, mottling masks for weathering, AK Interactive weathering pencils. These things are fantastic. These are just watercolour pencils, but they are really, really good. Definitely worth a look. They come in all different colours and range in different sorts of sets. They're great. They're just a watercolour pencil, so they can be used as a dry pencil, or they can be mixed with water to create all kinds of different effects. They're fabulous. All my sandpapers, so wet and dry papers are in there, razor saws, micro chisels, that kind of stuff, masking cutting boards, all that kind of general model-y type stuff, all stashed in those drawers there. So that's my main workstation. That's where I spend most of my time. Got this lovely big cutting mat on there, although if I move the keyboard you'll see where there's been a couple of spillages of usually of that stuff, of thin glue. Spare cutting mat, which I use basically as a mouse mat and a coaster. And then underneath in the drawers, usual stuff really, just assorted junk in the top drawer. Then I've got things like cotton wool, nitrile gloves for when I'm airbrushing, wet wipes, spare lenses from my magnifiers, that kind of stuff. All my stuff in there is for colouring. I'll do a bit of colouring books now and again. This one's quite good. So full of various plastic cards and styrene strips, brass rod, glass tubing, that kind of thing. Just all kinds of stuff. And then assorted electrical gubbins in the bottom of that one. And then similar over here really, just assorted odds and ends tools in this one. That one's pretty defunct at the minute. All my tubed oil paints, most of which are these Abtalon 502s. I just love using oil paints for weathering, they're fantastic. Chalk pastels, which are good as well. Various other cheaper oil paints and cheap acrylics at the back, which to be honest I rarely use. I mostly use these. These Abteilung ones, they're really, really good. And then in this drawer down here is all my little mixing pots and stuff. So things like Pringles lids come in really handy for using as paint palettes. Little syringes for doing stuff, you know. All, you know, little plastic stoppers that are great for mixing. Medicine cups, again, good for mixing paint up. And then they're all used ones where there's assorted mixed paints stuck in the bottom. And bottom drawer's just full of cardboard and post envelopes in case I need to post anything. So, spray booth. I started off with one of those little 50 quid spray booths from eBay, I think, which worked okay. The ones that little fold up into like a little briefcase. It worked all right, but because as I've mentioned, I use lacquer cellulose thinners quite a lot, and it just wasn't powerful enough for that. So I needed something bigger. So this is a bench vent 300 SD. Which is a lot more powerful, and it's obviously a permanent fixture. Again, not cheap, but well worth the investment. Vents through this hose here, which goes down through a hole in my bench down there, excuse the mess down the back of there, and then goes underneath and out the wall through a tumble dryer vent, which I just fixed through the doors of through the wall of my shed. Main supply coming in from the garage down there. Couple of storage boxes, storage drawers under here with various stuff in, sort of rotary tools and all my airbrush cleaning stuff and that kind of thing. My airbrush itself at the minute, I've only got the one. I'm using, this is a Mr. Hobby Pro Convoy PS270. It's a 0.2mm one, so it's quite fine. I use it as my daily driver. It does pretty much everything I need it to, although I am going to get myself a slightly larger one, a 0.35 or a 0.5mm one even, just for doing primers and clear coats and that kind of thing. Little pot there full of pipettes and assorted bits for mixing paint, manual paint stirrer, electric paint stirrer. Moving over to this side above there, sorry, I'll show you my model stash, some of the kits that have yet to be built. When I'll get around to doing them, I do not know. Some of them are already sort of part built, some of them are finished, and they're just stored up there for now. But yeah, I'll get around to building those soon enough. Coming further down, again, this is the model railway corner at the minute, or it's certainly turning out to be. I picked this up off of Amazon the other day just to put all the little bits in. I was given, not given as such, but I was offered a job lot of stuff from a colleague at work who was giving up railway modelling, and he gave me a load of stuff. I'll probably do another video about that another time, possibly. Suffice to say, he literally he gave up the whole lot, and he asked me if I would like to take it all off his hands. There was a 009 built layout in there, and then a couple of boxes full of just scenics and assorted bits and bobs. And he gave it all to him. Well, say gave it to me. He gave it to me in return for a donation to a charity of his choice. So it was really good. And in amongst that was all things like these LED lights and that kind of stuff, and some spare bits and bobs here and there, bits of track and sleepers and stuff. So I picked this little drawer unit up off of Amazon the other day, just to start putting all of the little bits and bobs that will no doubt be coming my way as I get deeper and deeper into this hobby, track pins and that sort of thing, you know. These bigger drawers I've had for a while, again reappropriated for the model railway use. This one's got assorted old buildings that I might, be able to use in the future. I've just put some electrical stuff, electrical wiring in there for now. I've got some plaster cloth in there, and then again in this one, just little bits of figures in there, bits of scenery, sort of walls and fences and stuff like that in there. Again, bits and bobs, nothing thingy. This is all my RC radio controlled stuff, so some tools in there and that kind of stuff. I've got some risers there, should I want to build an incline on my layout. And mentioning RC, got my RC cars on the shelves up above here. So that's a little Land Rover that my friend Andy from work gave me. ages ago, but then I rapidly moved on to this. I do radio controlled rock crawling. This was my first one. It's a Traxxas TRX4 Sport. It's a ready to run kit. It's fantastic, as you can see. It's well battered. It's taken a few tumbles, but it just keeps on going. It's a fantastic bit of kit. All the controllers up there. My DSLR, which is a Sony A77. And then on this side, I've got my other RC crawler, which is a Axial SCX-10-2. This one was great fun. I built this from a kit, just bare bones kit, assembled all the gearbox and everything. This was fantastic. And then I had to, put my own wheels and all that kind of stuff, and a Proline Jeep Rubicon body on it, which is just, I think it looks amazing, and it drives so well. It's such a great toy. And I did say toy. I have no doubt that is a toy. It's a big toy, but it's a toy. Sorry, mic dropped out there. But it is a toy. That's a part built model kit up there. In fact, there's two there. There's a little M3 Stuart, and then this is a Apache AH1Z Cobra. It's an Academy kit. It's, as you can see, it's almost finished. It's in primer, it's ready to go, but when I'll get round to finishing it, I don't know. And then my old Minolta 7000. My dad bought that when it was brand new back in, late 80s, mid 80s, something like that. It was the first autofocus SLR. And he bought it from new when it would just come on the market. And over here I've got my the beginnings of my Loco collection. Nothing really to shout about there, but yeah, I'm making a start. I've got a Mark 1 coach there and a couple of little wagons just sitting there waiting to go. This malarkey down here, now then. So this is a photo studio light. I have got two more of these, which I've packed away temporarily. This used to be my photoing area for when I was building model kits. This is again just another 4-foot IKEA table, and then I would have this roll of paper up here so I can pull it off, drape it over the table, stand the model on, put all the studio lights on, tripod out, and take some photographs. But obviously now that I'm not doing that for now, I've put the studio lights away, apart from this one, because it works as a great overhead light in this space here. And it just does the job for now. So I thought, well, I may as well leave it. And then I've got extra light coming from the side from this IKEA work lamp, should I need it. So the layout itself then, as you can see, you may have seen this in my other videos, it's a 4-foot by 2-foot. It's going to be a shunting layout. Now then, I've put these Bachmann branch line points in. But it's not working too well. I believe they're Hornby tooling ones, and I'm having problems with there's locos at slow speed getting over these frogs. I've got a class 25 up there, which keeps derailing. It could be down to wheel flange size or anything like that. It could be down to a few things, but I've decided that I'm going to eliminate that problem, and I'm going to switch to Electrofrog points. I've got them on order. They should be here by the middle of next week. So I'll take all these points out and start again. Controller wise, this was again part of what my friend Phil offered me when he gave up. It's a lovely Gauge Master controller, a heck of a lot better than the basic Hornby one that I picked up when I started. And that's about it really. This cupboard down here has got loads and loads of scenics in the top. I'm not going to pull it all out, but it's full of flocks and scatters and ballast and all kinds of stuff. And then the bottom one is just full of bottles of assorted stuff, PVAs and spare bottles of thinner and airbrush cleaner and all that kind of stuff in there. Shelf full of junk in that corner there, which is awaiting to be sorted. Cork look for putting down on the bed of this, should I continue to build it. And that's about it really. Coming back around this side, the only other thing to show you, I suppose, is my display cabinet, which has got all of my previous model builds in. If I swing that light round like that, probably quite harsh light, but it'll give you an idea. So yeah, I've got a little 109 in there. What's his name? Russell Crowe's Gladiator. That light's really not doing him any favours. There's a King Tiger there. And various other bits and bobs, a couple of cars that I've built. My Ford Transit diorama, which I have to say is probably my favourite build, I think. I'm very proud of that, especially from a railway modelling point of view. I've never built a diorama before. It's the only one I've done. But yeah, I'm really proud of how that turned out in the end. And then a few other bits and bobs on the bottom down there. My voice is echoing really badly in that cabinet. And then got a part-built Tamiya F16 on top. That just needs wheels and not armaments on it really, but I've just never got around to doing it. And my Tamiya Sky Raider, which actually surprisingly that ended up going into a modelling magazine, which I never expected it to do, so I was quite chuffed with that. It was a bit of a surprise. I guess the only other thing to show you is my chair. I am quite proud of this one. So this is if I put this other light round, you'll be able to get a better look. So this is a Noble Chairs Hero. It's a gaming chair. Obviously spending a lot of time sitting at a bench putting plastic together is quite stressful, or can be, on the old back. And I've got a semi-prolapse disc, so I get sciatica now and again. And I was finding after sitting for long periods of time, I was in a lot of pain. So I did a lot of research and ended up getting this, which is just fantastic. It's got built-in lumbar support and reclines obviously, and raises up and down and tilts and all kinds of stuff. The armrests are all fully adjustable. They go forwards and backwards, and they swivel and go up and down and all kinds of stuff. It's a great piece of kit. So yeah, well, it certainly allows me to sit here for long periods of time without any worries at all. So, bit of a whistle-stop tour. Sorry for the glaring lights. I'll turn those away. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers what's in here at the minute. So my question is, the decision that I need to make is, can I fit a layout into this shed? Workable space. The back wall, I've got 11'6" across there, and I've got 9'6" down this side here. And these walls are about 4 foot out to the door here. So I've got 4 foot to go back that way, 9'6" to go up that way, and then I can take another 11'6" across that way. But, and this is the crucial thing, I want to be able to keep my workstation, obviously, and I want to be able to keep my spray booth. I can't be without either of those. I can reconfigure them. I mean, for example, the spray booth could come down into this corner here, for example, maybe sit along that wall there, which would obviously reduce my space on that side, but it would open up all of this back wall and part of this one here. So whether I could do an L-shaped type layout or a dog bone type thing, I don't know. And I would like to stick in 00. So that's the dilemma I've got at the minute. Do I try and squeeze something in here, or do I up sticks and move beyond that wall into the shed, into the garage, which currently is just full of garage stuff, assorted, collected junk up from over the years, and bikes and lawnmowers. So I could essentially have a single garage. There's a double garage. I could fit half of it out as a railway room. But I would like to keep in my shed if I can. But yeah. Anyway, one sec. So there we go. That's the shed as it stands now. How long it'll stay like this for, I don't know. Whether it'll change drastically or whether it'll become a playroom for the kids in the next few months. Who knows? It all depends where I go with this model railway business. But I hope that's given you some kind of an insight into what goes on in here. For those who are asking, there's the shed tour. Like I say, it's evolving. It's been evolving for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's going to continue evolving. I'm very lucky to have this space. I really, really am, and I don't want to give it up. I really don't want to move into the garage if I can help it. I would love to stay in this room here, but we'll see what happens. thanks for watching then, guys. Any comments, more than welcome. Anything you'd like to, any advice you want to give, anything you want, questions you want to ask, whatever, please leave them down in the comments below. I'm more than happy to answer pretty much anything. And hopefully we'll see how this goes, and I'll be back to you very soon with some model railway layout goodness. Thanks so much, guys. Take care now. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.